Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are here for some round of 16 action between Samwise12 and LordRaphael. Really big matchup here. I think everyone is excited to see these two guys play. I know I am excited to see these guys play. I suspect my co-caster Interjection is excited to see these guys play. And I can't wait. We're about to get started. The first map is Tibet. And I jokingly said to Sam right before we went live, take the map, take the Chinese civilization, and let's get things underway. We'll see whether or not that is the case, but first, Interjection, welcome, as always.
Hello indeed. Look at that, flicking through the civs. Ottoman, France, India, I don't know which ones we saw. I'm not sure if he's like deciding which to pick, but I don't know. Zoo, are you ready for some mirrors? I'm ready for some mirrors.
I suspect we're going to see a fair number of mirrors. Obviously, the first map is Tibet in this map pool. We can go over the maps very quickly here just so that we're all aware of the set of maps we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing Tibet first. Map number 2 will be Hudson Bay. Map number 3 will be High Plains. Map number 4 will be our non-TP map in the set Cascade Range. And map number 5 will be Arkansas, if needed. I suspect this is the fan in me hoping that we will need indeed all 5 of these matches. So,
not only because they're great maps, and I'd like to see play on them, but also obviously the series going that long would be wonderful. Looks like our slot machine has finished.
He's landed on Russia, strangely enough.
Yeah, and he's clicked in there, so mind game, he says in the chat there. What will LordRaphael pick, though? I believe at this point, nobody has won any games, well, obviously. So free choices here, completely open.
Yeah.
And I believe they can keep switching until they both land on a matchup that they're happy with. What do you think of this one, Russia versus France? I wouldn't necessarily expect Sam to go with Russia.
Yeah, I think Russia does fine on this map, but I don't suspect LordRaphael will settle into this matchup. Just because this is like kind of a low-ish hunt map, right? And Russia can really control the middle of the map and just kind of force the issue. I don't suspect we'll see Russia. I think eventually the slot machine you mentioned will land on double China, sooner or later.
Ding, 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 ding. Shall we select China ourselves? Let's get this, get the 4 in a row going, shall we?
They're not going to do it. We'll do it.
Giving them a hint there.
Yeah. Let's see whether or not they take the key. LordRaphael is actually clicked in. Wow, they're actually going to click in on non-China. What will be the China mirroring aspect of this map?
Well, we're China mirroring.
Yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 1 in a best of... How long is this series?
5. Only 5 games.
Of course, you mentioned 5 maps, didn't you? Cascade Range being the final of that. Best of 5 series between 2 of the strongest players in the tournament, and indeed on ESO currently. Samwise12, a big name from back in the day, competing in this tournament again. He competed in the previous one, and he's back for more in this one. Let's see how far he'll take it. Samwise12, of course, is the only player to, I believe, have... Well, I believe he's had the highest power rating ever.
That's correct.
Back in the day. I believe it was like 52. And it only displays as 50, actually, but you can see it's above that if you go to the Japanese ELO rating site, which I believe will be in the in this description if you're watching this on YouTube, of course. And simultaneously, I believe, has had the highest ELO rating ever as well. Or was that H2O?
I think overall it was Sam, like the overall rating. I think like in the 1v1 rating, I'm not certain, but there was a time when Sam was playing so many team games as well, and his ELO was something ridiculous in the overall. It was like 3,400 or something like that for the overall rating. Of course, that's not the 1v1 high, but still, like he was dominating team games as well, so...
Yeah, Samwise definitely a very well-rounded player, and today's starting off with Russia, so we'll see how far that's going. Picking up quite a lot of yaks for a Russian player, considering the lack of explorers that you do get. Considering his opponent's French and he has the native scout, you'd expect perhaps him to have less yaks than that. So nicely done, good for him, and does manage to find this 75 food treasure over here, which a yak actually found on its way back to the town centre there. So maybe that'll come into play, maybe that'll help him mage up a bit quicker. But we do have LordRaphael, another name that is should be very well known, a very, very good player as well. Has been proven since, well, in a number of games that I've casted, certainly with LordRaphael in them, and his appearances on SmackDown. This guy is a monstrous player, and I am very excited, as Zuta pointed out, just the intro to this, to watch a game between these two guys. Because honestly, I'm so convinced by LordRaphael's gameplay that we have seen that I think this could go all the way to Game 5, as you were mentioning, or indeed will be a very close series.
It definitely will be. These two guys, I mean, it's almost a shame that they had to meet in the round of 16, because I think most people would agree that, I mean, they're probably two of the maybe best 4 players in the whole event, and as a result, you know, it's kind of a shame that they have to play each other so early on. But either way, it will be a good matchup. Both players starting off, interestingly enough, with a huge wood treasure as well, worth noting.
Yeah, 90 wood right there, right? Yeah. What else has been found?
Sam picked up an 85 wood treasure. I actually think Sam walked by both this treasure and this treasure, and perhaps saw them both, but may have been aware that LordRaphael was in the area, building his trading site, and as a result just elected to take the first one that he happened across, and was able to sneak that one out, but LordRaphael picks up the other one. So both getting a nice wood treasure to start off the game.
And I think that is the right decision. When you're playing as Russia, you have that one scouting unit. You know your opponent is France. He has a native scout as well. And if he's in the area and you suspect that, it is sometimes, I suppose, a bit risky, and you don't need to risk that. But we do have normal stats so far. Let's turn on shipments sent. We do see distributivism has arrived for the Russian player. Nothing confusing here. And of course, almost has, that's the French player, almost has all of the food he needs to be clicking up to the next stage. Let's switch on over to text being researched. Actually, both players on their way up. Yeah. Yep. Russia would have been quite far behind if he wasn't aging. Because all you can see is the food in this UI. But yes, both players indeed are aging up to the next stage. Zuta, what can we expect from Russia and France?
Well, so I mean, it's going to be on Russia to force the issue. Anytime we see a Russia versus basically exiled prince aging to age 3, comfortable in age 3-esque civ like German or French like that, it's always on Russia to apply pressure and to try and control the map, and then for the opposing civ to try and get aged up without taking lethal damage. We can already see Sam has sent forward a pair of villagers, constructing this blockhouse in a fairly aggressive manner. Yep. And if you take a look at what LordRaphael has in base, it's not like he has a ton of resources, right? I mean, this map generally has one fairly safe hunt behind you. And aside from that, if you look at the next hunts, fairly exposed. I mean, hunts 3 and 4 way out here on the sides of LordRaphael's base. And as a result, in order to secure those, he's going to have to do a couple of things. He's either going to have to beat back this first push convincingly and be able to push out of his base and get back some control. Or else he's going to have to get aged up and utilize a tech advantage to really, bust against that pressure as well. So we'll see what he ends up doing, how he ends up opening them up. He is in the second age now, is collecting up his 400 wood, and we will very soon see his choice when it comes to tech.
We shall. Stable going down there is his first choice of military building with the 400 wood that he's getting up, and I imagine we'll see 2 houses come out of him as well. Absolutely, there they are. So, Zuta, looks like we're going to be seeing the Fortress Age option of the 2 that you mentioned. Looking here like he wants to get some cavalry out, and during transition, whilst he's sending that 4 villager shipment and gathering the resources he needs to age up, he can use them, run around, perhaps do some raiding. But equally, his opponent has got this forward blockhouse. Has he seen that? Here we do 5 Cossacks coming out. One of Russia's very, very strong shipments. This is incoming now, and this is going to be problematic for his, village. Certainly the villagers on the coin mine, forcing them in there, and you can see them like flying, going straight into the town centre, to then come out on the other side, He's
trying to keep him safe, but I mean, this is what concerns me, right? He's got to try and beat back this pressure in an effective way. And look at his hunts. This hunt is by no means in a safe location yet. The one maybe saving grace that we're going to see is look at the number of yaks he's been able to gather during this transition time as well. He's got 10 yaks underneath his town center. That could perhaps end up saving his day against this pressure, because that represents several thousand food that he's going to be able to use to help try and beat back this pressure. Very safe, controllable food.
Yeah, here we go. 8 crossbowmen have arrived, though, and these are certainly going to be very useful in combination with the 4 hussars that he managed to get out to beat this back. This, does mean he's going to sort of slow down his shipment progression here, but absolutely has to be sending these crossbowmen if he wants these villagers to be able to continue gathering efficiently. Russia going to have to find perhaps another cavalry shipment, certainly some more units from somewhere before he's going to be able to go right back in there again. But having sent now 8 crossbowmen, that delays the 700 gold that will get him up to the next stage. It delays the 700 wood that he might want to add more military. Looks like these cavalry are going to get caught out of position as well, and that really is going to suck for him.
Yeah, that is not something that LordRaphael was looking forward to. The 4 Cossacks coming back to the town center for Samwise12 instead of from the forward blockhouse, and using those cavalry units to just kind of catch out the hussar that we're trying to get a raid in, and now all of a sudden Sam has a very imposing army here, and once again LordRaphael confined to his base in a kind of a tough situation.
Yeah, 700 wood comes down though. That's not going to help him right now. These crossbowmen, they would be much better protected. They'd be less scared of those cav should he have a few extra cav of his own to sort of block here, but for the time being is going to be able to sort of keep these blue army on the edge. But I don't know, like this looks
very quickly running out of resources as well, right? Look at his CDB. There's not a lot for them to gather. He's got a couple of deer in the back side of his base back here. He's got like 2 standing deer and 2 deer that have fallen over, and is making the decision to drop down 2 barracks. Looks like he's going to end up fighting this out in the second
stage too.
I think ideally he was hoping that he could get away with some sort of raid and draw back the whole army of Sam, maybe ship 700 coin as his next card, get aged up, something like that. Not going to be the case, forced to drop down 2 Raxes, and this is absolutely playing into Russia's hands. This is exactly what Russia wants in this situation. He's going to be able to continue to control the map. The second that LordRaphael decides he needs to get out to one of these hunts, that's when Sam will be able to, oh no, not again!
Not again!
Not again!
No. It doesn't look like he's going to get caught there. Or no, he has been caught, but even if he did get away, he's taken so many shots on the way out. Yeah. That's it's almost 600 resources worth of cavalry gone there, and this is not what he wants at all. He's already perhaps behind, considering, as you mentioned, this is exactly what Russia wants. He wants to play these colonial-aged, drawn-out fights where he's going to get the most out of his slightly more cost-effective units, the sheer number of units, the boyars shipment, which will make him very, very efficient, and just the overall efficiency of Russia in Age 2. And losing these small few units here and there is really not going to help him in already an uphill battle.
Yeah, it's so brutal, and I love the way that Sam is playing this out, right? 700 wood coming as his next card, throwing down a blockhouse. He knows at this point all he needs to do is continue to contain, continue to keep a mass advantage, and as long as he does that, eventually France is just going to starve himself out. Russia will be able to continue to gather, France will not, and eventually he'll just kind of win by default, because at some point the villagers, the town center, none of that will matter, because he'll just have an army and the ability to continue to train an army, and LordRaphael will not. And we can see LordRaphael already eating through those yaks. He's down to 2 standing yaks plus the little bit of food remaining on the couple that are dead, and at that point LordRaphael has to leave his base if he wants to continue to train military units.
Yeah, LordRaphael, though, interestingly has found the resources to click on up to the next stage. He currently does have the Exiled Prince in queue, and we see that Samwise12, the army is getting bigger and bigger. He's poking in here and there, trying to take out a villager, keep the Red Army on the front, keeping his opponent on edge. But he has his opponent found the way up. Red player is on the way up to the next stage. Sam, as you mentioned, he got that 700 wood and laid down this blockhouse. There's another one trying to control the map, starve his opponent out. All of these things, but equally, he's not perhaps being aggressive as he ought to be, considering he knows his opponent, considering he doesn't know, but that his opponent is aging up. If this can work, and now that he's up, he does have those those more powerful units, but the question is it going to matter?
Yeah, this is going to be so scary. This is a very hard push to hold. We can see the CDB being forced to fight, Minutemen Pop coming out as well, Cossacks coming in, 13 Starlet have been shipped by the Russian player, and it looks like this is just going to be Russia going all in, saying, you know what, like, beat me here and now. There is a shipment on the way for the French player, but when that arrives, we'll see whether or not it's going to be completely isolated out and easy to focus down as the result of the accompanying red units going down here. We can see most of the military units have been dealt with. Only 1 musket and 3 crossbows
3
remaining.
cuirassiers do pop out. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. He might be able to clean this up. He might be able to force the red player back with the town center fire, the few remaining CDBs, and of course the crossbowmen that he has. But if we take a look at that population graphic, I'm sure that is no longer looking particularly nice for red. It's not like he can do this again should, when the continuing blue units pop up. I think Blue would have preferred to have pushed in a bit sooner, but obviously there's no way to know his opponent was aging. But, had Red been given perhaps 30 more seconds for that 3 cuirassier shipment to arrive and for another batch of perhaps skirms to arrive instead of the musketeers that he was training in transition, he did pop out a few musks, which, could have been skirms if he was given a bit of extra time. This could have been a closer match, but Sam, of course, saw his opponent hit up and he's not going to give him that time. He knows that that's exactly not what he can afford to do.
Yeah, a couple more cuirassiers going to pop out here. It looks like 2. 8 skirmisher shipment as well coming for LordRaphael, which is going to force Sam to be back. And for the moment, LordRaphael has stabilized. It looks like he's been able to push Sam out of his base. He was able to also sneakily get a couple villagers down here, which have been able to gather this whole time, which is very beneficial to him. I think that's a little bit of a mistake by Sam to allow that to happen. But continuing, more Cossacks coming. Looks like he's going to be able to clean up these cuirassiers, and then the skirmishers are going to be forced to start their retreat.
Yeah, they are.
Or maybe not, as only 2 Cossacks remain. Both sides kind of stare at each other a little bit on the hill and then back off. But still, tricky situation for LordRaphael.
Yeah, I was expecting Samwise to have more units coming than that. Yeah. It feels as if they've dried up a bit more quickly than I thought they would. I thought, having the economy behind this, forcing his opponent's villagers to fight rather than collecting resources, killing quite a lot of them. I mean, if you look at that economic graphic, he is 10 villages up, which is a substantial amount in a 1v1. And, certainly the red player cannot sustain playing the game that far behind for very long in terms of villages. It looks like these Cossacks are going to come out and find these CDBs, but they've, by the looks of it, collected most of the food that was available in that location. So, and the cuirassiers down here are going to come and meet these Cossacks and scare them away. Those villagers are going to be absolutely okay. He does have some skirmishers, which look like they're going to intercept. Certainly not very good against Cossacks, but considering the cuirassiers are already there, and some dragoons, supporting dragoons coming as well. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense.
The 5 dragoon shipment is really what's going to save him here. And I think we had to assume that was coming due to the fact that he did have the shipment available and how aggressively he was posturing his skirms. It was probably just a matter of time until that dragoon shipment popped out. I suspect Sam had a similar read on that as well. Usually skirms don't walk towards Cossacks like that if they don't have something backing them up, especially at this level. The thing is, we're still in this situation where Russia has complete control of the map. He's got spice control, spice trade.
Spice control. Wow.
Spice control. Sounds like a song from the 90s. Spice control. But
it sounds like a Domino's ship.
Yeah, maybe it does. But yeah, he's still in a position where militaristically he's ahead in population, he's ahead in economy, and he still has the ability to gather these resources. The longer this game goes and the further the French player has to spread himself out, the more difficult it's going to continue to get, especially when he's already in this economic disadvantage. It just is going to depend holy crap, he just got so many cuirassiers out. It just depends on whether or not he's able to get one really good fight here before Russia kind of controls the rest of the map and gets out of control a little bit.
Yeah, this 700 coin just arrives for blue. That's a lot of cuirassiers coming out. He needs to make use of those soon, so to maximize the, you don't want to wait around with your military units for too long. Perhaps when his next shipment arrives, we'll see something happen. Do you think this many quirs is going to do well? I mean, there's not really many anti-cavalry.
Yeah, there's almost no anti-cavalry is the unfortunate thing here.
It still feels slightly early, though. It feels as if he would perhaps want to wait for his next shipment. He does have one available.
The cuirassiers are just getting eaten up by the muskets, unfortunately, and the Boyard Cossacks are doing so much work here. It's a really important card to mention, Boyars, because it does affect both the Strelot and the Cossacks equally, and as a result, it's a pretty efficient trade there. I mean, if you think about how many resources Sam just killed there from the French player,
That's a lot.
It was a lot. I mean, there was what 7 or 8 Corsairs at 300 resources a pop. That's 2,400 resources that he was able to just eliminate right there. Does Sam have a second stable? Because I suspect his economy is going to be strong enough soon that he'll be able to support 2 stables. Because what he really needs to be reinforcing with here is those very strong Cossacks. And I only still see a single stable, but he's getting out 5 Cossacks no problem from them.
Yeah, it looks like it's fairly continuous in production, that stable. Certainly could get another one. And more cavalry is absolutely a thing he will need, considering the 2 cannons have arrived. This is, part of this massive tech advantage that France has managed to acquire himself, gathering in harmony. But that does tell exactly where he is, right?
Yeah, and similarly, I mean, LordRaphael, like, this is what we were talking about earlier, right? These villagers are starting to have to get out on the map, and it's a very dangerous proposition. I mean, he doesn't want to fight underneath that blockhouse, but at the same time, look at how much damage that one CDB has taken. I mean, it's gonna die just gathering coin. I mean, he's gonna give his life for the Empire for just gathering that coin.
Gathering coin. Yeah, you could next level move, bring it away, and then it would retask onto some other unit. But actually, in this fight, I imagine that that's exactly what he wants, them targeting the villages rather than his military units, because they'll sponge up a lot. But looks like we do have a little bit of conflict here. The villagers going to get involved, and that would make sense, bringing more villagers in. These 2 cannons are going to do so much work.
Right? Man, what a dirty volley. And
this is exactly what he needs, to be making use of the fact that he's a whole age up with these, oh my goodness, that's so much damage on these low HP Russian units, it's Russian infantry. They're actually all going to get cleaned up.
Yeah, LordRaphael's looking okay here. I mean, there's another flanking batch of Cossacks coming from the right stable. Like you mentioned, second stable is up, but with that blockhouse going down,
they're going to get in there. They're going to be able to get those 2 cannons. He needs to move the villagers in the way. It looks like it's might be able to save the second one.
Oh, it's going to be so close. Those Cossacks, remember, they're really, really strong with boyars. As long as it gets focused down,
Cannons neutralized Zuta, and I think that that evens up the odds now. I'm not sure if French can sit on that position quite as easily without those 2 cannons. That really was what was giving him the ability to control this resource location and give him control of the military buildings in the area. It's no doubt that the blue player with his superior economy is going to be able to bounce back with units sooner. Well, fairly soon. Yeah, the red player has definitely in favor of military unit population, but I think losing the cannons is a big deal.
Yeah, it certainly is, but I mean, at the same time, 7 skirmish shipment coming out. The Corsairs here are going to be very, very effective in this matchup, and all of a sudden we've got this very scrappy brawl in the middle of the map, and I think French is okay here. I think French has done it. I think by killing that blockhouse, he secured enough of the map on the left-hand side that I think he'll be okay, and I don't know that Sam necessarily has a good answer. Yeah, I don't think he has an answer for these Corsairs.
And sneak it up to the next stage. That was what paid off there in this match. Manages to pull him out the win, I suppose. Do you think Sam ought to have seen that coming sooner than he did? I mean, he didn't truly walk in and commit to it, fighting his opponent in Red's base until he saw that the age up was there. And did he?
I mean, in retrospect, he probably would have wanted to try and get in a little bit earlier, but it's really hard to get that read on your opponent, especially when you see double Raxes like that. It's very easy to think your opponent is committing to more military units and is going to fight in Age 2, and as a result, maybe he got lulled into a little bit of a sense of security, thinking, hey, my opponent's not going to actually try and age up. I'll probably be okay to just sit back a little bit more, get a nice mass, and then try and timing push on top of his resources. And that allowed just enough time for LordRaphael to get aged up, and as a result, wow, that was quite a game. That was quite a game.
It might have come down to just those yaks as well. On any other map, you wouldn't have that extra food that would boost you quite quickly into the food piles you'd need to get up to the next stage as well. So certainly something to think about. If they weren't there, certainly it would have had less food. As Zuta mentioned, there's not very many safe hunting locations, but also those yaks are very fast gathering.
And just the sheer number of them as well, right? I mean, he had 10 of them, I believe. I don't know that Sam had any. And so being able to pick up that many yaks, not just the fact that, I mean, had that number of yaks been 4, he probably wouldn't have gotten aged up, right? And so just the sheer volume of the yaks that he was able to control gave him just enough resources to get aged up. And then he had that one really good fight where the 2 falconets. Yeah, look at the 2 falconets. Look at the Well, let's look at the military unit population. That'll be a little bit more. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Even look at the fight at 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes. Really, really good for LordRaphael. And then similarly, another pretty good fight for him at 17 minutes. And I suspect that's maybe when the two falconets were blasting away. But either way, a really, really close game came right down to the wire. And Russia just not quite able to get a stranglehold on the map for long enough to be able to win it out.
Yep, that does conclude game number 1. Though stay tuned, more coming up. Hold on, wait. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a great game. Map number 2 is Hudson Bay, by the way.
LordRaphael Samwise.
Sam12.
Sam12. All right, we're rolling.
Map number 2 is Hudson Bay. Is going to be kind of an interesting. This will bring another interesting dynamic to this game. The fact that we didn't see a China mirror in game number 1, because now the civs that both sides have available to them are kind of different, right? And so, like in this situation, I suspect Sam to play something like maybe French, for example, and all of a sudden, like LordRaphael can't mirror it, so maybe we'll have like another strange, kind of quirky matchup here, once again moving into game number 2.
I think actually you can't play mirror matchups in this tournament format anyway.
Well, you can in the first game,
yeah.
Right? And then you can do a mirror, but it's whoever picks second, like it would be their decision whether or not they wanted
to play the mirror.
And I suspect most people don't like mirrors. I don't know. There's very few people who do like mirrors. I know like H2O and Garja, they would probably pick mirrors, but I don't know that LordRaphael specifically would be actively seeking out the mirror.
Yeah. Well, hold on, let me switch back.
I have to switch back to my civ. I felt a little naked playing the Chinese civilization.
What's going on here? This isn't good. Okay, so.
Also worth noting, in typical Samwise fashion.
He's gone somewhere.
He's gone somewhere, taking a little break. Although we really all know that he's sitting at his computer, staring at his screen, mentally trying to intimidate his opponent.
We're going to play the slots machine again.
Well, it's going to be less of a slot machine, right? Because now LordRaphael has to choose his civilization first. Which means that, I guess he could slot machine around for a little while, but he has to settle in on a civ before Sam is forced to take a civ. And then I think we'll be able to fairly definitively probably guess what civ Sam will take as a response. I think there's a pretty good chance LordRaphael takes something like Germans here as his next civ, and then I think there's a pretty good chance that Sam probably mirrors that. So I'm going to call a German mirror for map number 2, just as my prediction.
All right. German mirror.
What'd you reckon? I don't know LordRaphael as a player that well to know like what his top.
He's connected with British, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he plays like stuff like Dutch and Portuguese pretty well as well.
That'd be fun.
He could pick Dutch. I mean, Dutch doesn't have any horrible weaknesses on this map. You could do something like Dutch. Maybe if he picks Dutch, then what would Sam pick? Maybe either Brits or Germans. Maybe Brits. So I think it'll either be a German mirror or Dutch versus Brit. Those are going to be like my two educated guesses as to what we're going to see.
We will have to wait and find out. And when I say wait...
we mean wait for Sam to get off the can.
Yep. Well, maybe he's, he is British after all. Making a cup of tea.
Yeah, he could be getting a cup of tea, maybe getting a cup of coffee, perhaps all of the above, and we'll be sitting here wondering where he is for the next 30 minutes. Or it could just all be one big, long, elaborate scheme to get us to sit here and wonder where he's at.
Maybe he gets great pleasure from that.
He's probably just waiting. He's probably just sitting there looking at like his screen, watching the stream, waiting for like the 2 minutes to pass so that he can catch up and see how frustrated we get with him.
Oh dear. Yeah. 2,000, almost 2,200 people online. This game's getting like pretty active again.
Yeah, we got ourselves another Steam sale going on. By the way, for those of you who are maybe have a friend who wants to get into the game, or maybe you just want yourself another account, there's currently a Steam sale going on. You can pick up the complete edition of Age of Empires 3 for $8 and $8 only. And you can have yourself a fresh copy, a brand new account. Maybe you want to start over, start yourself a new identity on ESO. Here's your chance. You can grab yourself a new account and...
Yep. Love leveling up those home cities.
Yeah, and well, I mean, if you beat me to it, you can be XX_fast_killer_XX.
Yep.
Or whatever other creative name you can come up with in the time. I always get nervous, like, you know what the other thing is, right? You're buying a new account, you're going to be making a Smurf, and you're trying to think of a good name, right? It has to be clever. It has to be something like somewhat original. It has to like look good, so like
exactly like a name like Zuta.
Yeah,
So
or
something
like abrupt killer, right? Like something that just strikes fear into your opponent's heart, and then you finally come up with it _fast_killer_XX or whatever, right? And then you type it in, and then you get that dreadful pop-up that says, "Sorry, this name has already been taken."
Yep, that's
it's so disappointing.
All right, are you ready? Let's get this recording underway.
Yes.
All right, so outcome of that one in favor of LordRaphael, and because of that, he has to pick his civilization first for this. Well, he's picking French by the looks of it,
He
and
can't pick French again, though. He can't pick the same civilization.
Oh, well, okay.
I think he would like to, as he mentioned, so it's a joke, but I think he'd like to play French in game number 2, but I don't suspect that he will actually pick. I think he'll pick Dutch or German.
Dutch or German, that's your guess.
Yeah.
All right, well, Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Gonna surprise us all. On Hudson Bay, it's not a bad pick, right? There's plenty of water. You're not quite as close to the water as you would be on the Saguenay equivalent of this, or the ES equivalent. But certainly with the extra town centre you can get, put that along the coast. Maybe you'll have a fishing agenda. Maybe he won't. Anything could happen. But as you mentioned, LordRaphael, you think has abilities with ports, and he's quite confident with them. Okay, gonna go for Germany instead. But it's on his mind, clearly. Or maybe he's trying to tell his opponents that he might be intending to play ports at some point during this series, and because of that, Sam might want to keep a civ on hold for when ports does come out, and therefore have one less available to him because he's saving it or something like that. I don't know what LordRaphael's thinking. The point is he's now on Germany, and I don't think Sam will stay on Spain, but that would be interesting. This matchup traditionally has always been quite good for Spain.
Yeah, I mean, out of not until map 4.
Actually, forget everything I said. If he's not even sure when he can play French, instead playing game his opponent.
Yeah, he's probably just he's just like navigating his way through the tournament rule set at this point still.
It's like, ports, wait, no, I won't do that. I'll just stick to German. It's a bit of a safer civ.
I suspect he'll play Germans here. Map number 3 is High Plains, which would lend itself well to a civilization like Brits, perhaps. Back to Portuguese. He's having a difficult time deciding between ports or Germans. Perhaps.
Or maybe it's a ruse. Maybe him saying in the chat, "When can I play French?" It's all a ruse, Zuta.
Yeah, it could very well be. The other thing to consider is if he feels like ports is one of his strong civilizations, he's going to want to play it on a water map, just because ports are better on water maps than they are on non-water maps. Just even having the potential to build fishing ships is a good thing for Portuguese. there is no other water maps remaining after Hudson Bay, so wow, Sam is he's straight up clicking in with Spain.
Wow. Okay. This is interesting. I wouldn't have thought Spain would be a great pick. Traditionally, Spain and Ports has been a fairly fair matchup on RE patch, but I feel like Ports has changed to the point where it's significantly stronger than Spain, which received fairly minimal changes compared to the giant reduction in villager cost for Ports, among other things. So this matchup feels like it's in favor of LordRaphael from the get-go, but Spain could tell us. I don't know what to make of this.
I'm confused as well. Sam's got something tricky up his sleeve, maybe? Maybe he's going to do, like, Piroshiki build or something like that?
Maybe, or maybe that you get your advanced church and send the quarterphage and get those...
the halberdier shipment going.
Yeah, the 13 halberdiers for 1,000 wood, and you just, like, zerg down your opponent's TC before they even know what happened. I don't know. Well, he's got something on his mind. You don't just, like, unwillingly click into, well, any matchup with Spain. So there's that. Here he is in the left-hand side of the map in the color blue, indeed, playing as the Spanish, 40 XP and 40 coin in his base. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for that 40 XP. Spanish shipments come so quickly that that wouldn't even be a bad thing to get. That would make your 3 villages just turn up instantly.
You'd have like your 3 villas at like 42 seconds or something. That'd be ridiculous.
Or maybe he has something else in mind. Of course, rushing for a trading post does have a 200 wood start. That could be on his mind as well. And of course, that is always time is of the essence. Does happen to come across 100 wood though, and that is that makes up for everything. That's a absolutely wonderful shipment, and I'd be very, very surprised if he didn't go for a trading post at this point, and having just found this treasure. That is a very big pickup, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely massive. We can see already having to... he had put a bunch of villagers over on wood initially because, like you mentioned, I think he was going to start with a trading post and then chop that extra 100 wood and use it to build a house, but no longer needed. He does have the ability to just gather this 100 wood treasure, doesn't have to chop that extra 100 wood, and as a result is going to find... some really nice utility. I wonder if Sam should have brought his war dog over there a little bit earlier, though.
Yeah, could conserve some HP and certainly have more hit points on that for the other big treasures that do typically turn up on this map. Let's take a look. 60 wood over there. Actually, I think there's 80 food. That's definitely one he'd like to have a lot of HP, a lot more HP to go and get. But other than that, I think he's gotten away with it. The other big treasures, such as this one over here, doesn't look particularly interesting. 20% hit points. So actually, maps might not matter as much as it could have done if there were better treasures. So got away with that perhaps. But equally, the war dog gets to do some scouting, which is efficient whilst his explorer is building. So either way, can't complain too much. War dog taking some damage from this explorer there. Should be able to get away though. I believe it has slightly more speed. He's not going to die. Leave Fido alone. Come on.
His name is Frijole. Come on.
Well, that doesn't even know what his dog's name is. He's exactly.
He doesn't. Come on, Sam.
At this point, who gives a shit if it lives or dies? No, can't even remember its name.
Yeah.
Yep. But LordRaphael, his opponent, in the right-hand side of the map, in the color red, playing as the Portuguese.
Yeah.
So
this is going to be interesting. I mean, this is like throw everything we even considered. About, we're going to see German mirrors, or maybe we'll see Brit and Dutch. Like, throw all of that talk out the window, because this matchup is completely different, and I really think we're just going to see some sort of straight-up aggressive FF with 2 Falconets. Like hashtag Piroshiki on fire. I really think that's probably... that style of play, just really aggressive FF with 2 Falconets, is going to be the absolute right call for Sam here. I don't know that LordRaphael will even have the option to go water if that's the case, because those 2 Falconets will be...
It's so fast.
Yeah, so fast in his base, and he's probably just going to have to come up with some sort of land defense. We'll see whether or not that's actually what Sam does. I mean, obviously at this point he's elected to not do the straight-up, Piroshiki build. He had the perfect resources to do it, right? Drop the TP and do the 12-10 villager Egypt, but doing a little bit more normal stuff. But I'm still very curious to see what he's actually going to do.
at this point, he switched his villagers from food to wood, which tells us he's intending to get either another trading post or perhaps a market, as we see here.
Mhm.
And this doesn't lend itself to the quite as aggressive strategy that you're mentioning. This has a bit more of economic backup, something to fall on. It's not quite as all-in as the Piroshiki one that you're mentioning. So this isn't going to be a super fast, aggressive FF, but still certainly could be very strong. The more I think about it, the more I like it. Spain gets these very small benefits now. Like when the patch notes were initially released, and I believe it has 2 shipments of 4 lances, and obviously all the Rodellero shipments are slightly better. But I always felt like they could have been even better than that. I feel as if 5 lances would have been really nice to see. But I wasn't the one playtesting it, and people like Gaia, among other very strong players, were. And maybe Samwise12 has a build in mind that is a lot more powerful, has a bigger power level than myself and certainly a lot of other people might actually think it has, and could be very strong, could be very fast, and represent a lot of damage that isn't necessarily expectable.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see because obviously at this point Sam is aging up with the governor. There it is finished. Does have the outpost on its way forward. We'll see how aggressively that gets placed down. Obviously, LordRaphael actually kind of ballsy in putting out his town center even this far forward, I think. Just due to the fact that your opponent is playing Spain, fairly high chance that he's going to be aging with the governor, fairly high chance that 2 Falconets is going to come out of a forward outpost fairly early on, and having that town center there for easy pickings is kind of a risky play, but we'll see how it shakes out. Of course, it does help him control the map, helps him control these very important hunts and the second trading site as well. So,
yeah, it does do that. Gives him leaves aware all the extras. There's 2 hunts near that and coin mine, a trading post, as you're mentioning. But interestingly enough, Spain does open with economic theory during transition. By the looks of it, this is not an all-in super fast aggro FF. He's slowing down an entire shipment for the sake of 10% to all villages. And considering, well, he doesn't have that many, 18 villages. That's like 1.8 villages shipment equivalent at the moment. Of course, it gets progressively better over time. But that's a whole shipment he's missing out on. And Spain needs that shipment if it wants to play super aggressive in the Fortress Age. That's its whole shipment, its whole bonus, I suppose. The fact that they get shipments more quickly. So this, and 5 villages as well. So clearly a economic build order here. And what I find interesting is that he's chosen to go with this, right? Traditionally, I would have always said, Portuguese, that's the civilization that in this matchup has defined itself as the booming one that has, cheap 80 food villages, the 2 town centers, and, clearly has a very, very great way to boom. Spain can afford economic theory in transition because of the extra shipments they do get, so perhaps that's worth thinking about. They do get extra shipments, but I'm not sure if they'll keep up with Portuguese, or at least that's my initial thoughts on what's going on here.
He does have 2 trading sites, which is going to help him certainly in the shipment progression. But this, like you mentioned, this is a very economically focused FF. The economic theory, 5 villagers, all of that very economically focused. 700 wood, another fairly standard shipment coming out after that. Going to be used to set up his infrastructure, get his military buildings started, maybe get a couple more market techs as well. Maybe he'll want to pick up steel traps, something like that as well. But still, it's going to be a bit curious here. Obviously, getting harassed by this Hussar, slowing down his ability to gather the wood shipment is as much as he would like to, but at the same time, going to be able to force those Hussar away. Going to still be able to gather up that 700 wood, get those villagers back to work, and has already begun constructing this barracks out here in this forward location. Is going to be able to get that up without a problem. The 3 Hussar not interested in trying to head over there and fight underneath the town center. And very soon Sam will be aged up. LordRaphael, actually, interesting enough, aging up as well. And then we're going to see some, I think we're going to start to see some sparks fly here, because now both civs are in the age where they are looking to do combat. And lots of tension actually here in the middle of the map, as we can see that both the town center and the outpost are able to fit here on one screen. So
yeah, that's definitely. So what was I going to say? Good lord, it's gone.
2 Falconets. That's what you're going to say, because I suspect it's going to be coming out of this outpost fairly soon.
Yeah, and he aged up with 8 pikes, which is interesting enough. Traditionally, the 4 hussars is the stronger ship. It's the stronger age up bonus there. But, with these pikemen, definitely gives him the ability to hold on to, to protect those cannons more easily. Considering he's just done everything so quickly, he didn't manage to, because he decided to build a trading post during his transition, he went with that market. I think he got steel traps. We can take a look at that. It means he's not going to be able to train something like 10 musketeers during transition, or really anything that would protect cannons, so it feels like those would be perhaps more vulnerable. But with the 8 pikes, maybe those still aren't. No, okay, so he's going to start with 12 pikemen instead.
He does have another shipment that's going to come by here fairly quickly because of the fact that the XP is just ticking through right now from the trading. Like, the trading post is just crossing his line, so he's getting a lot of XP right now. One villager going down there to a little bit of raid. But 12 pikes coming out. Skirm's begun to be trained, and now I suspect we'll see the 2 falconets, because realistically, Sam can't allow these 3 town centers just to be plopped up in the middle of the map without punishment, right? There has to be some sort of
look at this
contesting going on.
He's got all of the exits blocked off by pikemen. Like, there's some up here, and anywhere these units go, they're going to get caught. That's really, really nice, sandwiching in there. If he can actually... If that had paid off, that would have been so good. Does manage to sneak through the gap, but nicely tried from Sam there, setting that up. I would be very, very surprised to not see the veterancy upgrade on these pikemen, actually. He's got quite a number of them. 2 cannons have arrived now, and they are now going to get... they're heading back quickly. They want to get into the range of protection the pikemen will offer. And I think it's now go time. This army represents a lot of siege, and I quite like the fact that he's gone with pikemen. You think, well, Rodelero's that Spanish unique unit, why isn't he making those? But they don't represent any damage, or any siege damage, that is, and he is up against the Portuguese player who has extra town centres and things like that, which, you're definitely going to benefit from having a siege-heavy army, a siege-heavy composition. 2 cannons getting a little bit close for my liking. Pikemen's not too far behind. They're quickly coming back. But, Spain has a good economy behind this. Eco-theory, upgrades, 5 villager shipment, 2 trading posts, and that's a lot of skirmishes. And I no doubt think we'll see second ranks come up. A lot sooner than it normally would. Lots of skirms, war dogs coming in as well, and this is looking good.
Yeah, this is the push that Sam was looking for. This is going to be...
And look how safe he's playing this as well, getting those cannons even closer to the town centre, so that should anything turn up, these pikemen will be able to just quickly get in position to protect them. Not taking any risks here. Down to the 360.
Where are they going?
But they're setting up to do an MLG 360 no-scope.
Yeah.
That's what they would
two
do.
Orkin guns sneaking in the back here now for LordRaphael as well.
Oh,
That's
really?
going
Wow.
to absolutely cut through the front lines if Sam's not careful. He's going to need to control these falconets to be able to shoot down those Orkin guns, or he's going to take a lot of damage to his infantry as a result.
Yeah, this is a very delicate situation. He's got to, have to make sure there's no units in front, like the skirmishers here. Are sort of blocking. The cannons are going to find it hard to get in range of those organ guns. I don't think he's going to be able to do it now. LordRaphael...
I just noticed those organ guns were trained.
They weren't a shipment.
They were trained from an artillery foundry.
Yeah, where is the found? There it is in the back there.
Yeah. And now he's got 4 organ guns, which...
He does. I don't think Samwise12 is expecting this at all. No. Does manage to get a good volley off 360. No, come on. Does manage to get the second one there. But 4 organ guns represents the ability to really challenge the falconets. I don't think he was expecting that, and that represents a big threat. But has managed to neutralize these, and both of his cannons very high hit points still. I think at this point, LordRaphael did not work out in the way he intended at all, but the potential was there.
Yeah, it just shows the weakness of organ guns in traditional artillery fights, though, right? I mean, he had 4 artillery pieces versus 2, and the 2 falconets just absolutely demolish the fight, and these 2 falconets are going to be increasingly difficult to work with. I'm surprised that LordRaphael hasn't trained even a single culverin out of this artillery foundry in the back to be able to deal with this 2 falc shipment. Continuing to train more and more organ guns.
Oh, they do. Men do come out though. They represent quite a lot of damage versus the 2 cannons. Dragoons coming in as well, but considering the amount of skirmishes there and the amount of units nearby, it doesn't look like those Dragoons or those Minutemen are going to be overly effective. One of the cannons, or in fact both the cannons, quite low on HP. But
wow.
That's the end of that game.
Wow. I don't know, man. LordRaphael, I think he just collapsed under the situation, right? He just didn't know what to do in this situation, and as a result, Sam just takes a very quick, cheeky, easy win. Yeah, like LordRaphael reiterating the point I was just about to say. 6 Oregon guns and the 2 Falconet shipment is still alive. Like, that's some
Yeah.
pretty insane value.
I feel like the organ guns could have done a lot better there, though. They could have, if they'd managed to get a clean shot on those organ on the falconets. Yeah, the falconets are very much stronger at them. I normally go into the bang 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 versus the bang theory or theorem, whatever it is. But I still think those organ guns could have done really well there. Though I'm surprised at the lack of culverins, because that would have been the safer option.
I mean, even if he had just trained like 4 organ guns and 2 culverins, or just 1 culverin and 5 organ guns, right? I mean,
Yep.
he would have easily been able to deal with the 2 Falconet shipment, which was realistically the only thing punishing his organ gun choice. And then all of a sudden, organ guns would have looked brilliant against the pike skirm composition that Sam was primarily training. Organ guns would have absolutely ripped through that, pushed him back, and had no issues whatsoever. But just maybe freezing underneath under the situation and not getting the greatest read on it, and as a result, Sam ends up taking game number 2 and brings the series up to 1 game apiece.
1 game to 1 game. This is shaping up. Well, we're just waiting for Sam. Just gonna rehost you. Oh, you could do that on yours. Oh, I gave you a shout out, by the way, on your personal channel
Nice,
on the video. You should make a YouTube channel as well. Like, not because you need one, but just because there's no reason not to. And in the future, you might just want to go, oh, I'll just upload some video.
Yeah. I think I already have a YouTube channel. I used to post some videos on it, but...
Have you got any Legacy Age of Empires online content?
Yeah, that's almost exactly what I've got.
I think that's the next project they'll do. Now they've gotten Age of Mythology, the something expansion out with the Chinese civs. It looks pretty cool, actually. I reckon their next thing will be like Age of Empires Online Resurrected Edition.
I don't know. They would have to like rework the model and everything. Like, I don't know. Because like people didn't like the whole like payment model and stuff, right?
No. I know Azamk was a big fan of that game, actually. He was one of the biggest players in terms of like farming random quests and selling like gear
really?
and stuff. Yeah, like he made like an absolute bucket ton of stuff and then just gave it all away when the game closed. Like he was like super rich. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to attempt number 3 at game number 3. Zuta's internet, well, not his internet, apparently his graphics card went down, but hopefully we'll have that fixed. Unfortunate, but things like that do happen. Stream is back up, we're all back up, and Zuta has infiltrated your ranks with spies and now knows all that you do.
Tricky.
This morning in the north of the map in the colour yellow, we do have Samwise12, this time with 2 wood crates. And his opponent, therefore, who is also playing the same civilization, everything's the same map, same civs, also has 2 wood crates as well. I quite like the wood crate start as a player, but also as a viewer, because it does mean those trading post starts, and it does give you perhaps more explosive Fortress Age orientated games, though to be fair, that even without the wood crates, this would still be going to the Fortress Age, I have no doubt. But yep, absolutely. Trading post going down from Samwise12 there, ignoring his coin, ignoring his food. Treasures in his base there, but no doubt can go back for them later. Looks like Blue equally has intentions of going for this. Let's take a look at the treasures they've came across, shall we, and see how that's going to impact them. 70 XP for Blue, also has 70 coin nearby, and a settler treasure. Probably going to be quite pleased about that, and I imagine that'll be the next one he goes for, as he does, by the looks of it, have his hunt in his line of sight if we have Control-Shift-F on, yep. So no need to be scouting around there, can probably go straight for that village treasure, has a hunt very nearby, and can certainly get more scouting information later on in the game. Yellow, on the other hand, going back for his 40 coin, and aside from that, nothing nearby that he can see if we turn Control-Shift-F off. Actually, a very barren landscape, aside from this 95 wood, but if Blue does go back for that settler treasure, which, okay, gonna go for that nearby XP treasure, I guess no reason not to do that, but that wood treasure probably gonna be uncontested should Yellow find it. Actually, they're gonna stick to the circular pattern around his base, and that is gonna remain a mystery to both players for the time being, but the German mirror, Zuta, what can you tell us about that?
I love this matchup on this map. So right before we were going down, we were talking about basically why this map is so good for Germans, right? And the fact that it's very open. If you take if we take the fog off so that we can see, just look at all the exposed angles that Ulan and Cav can come raiding in your base from. It's a very naked feeling to the base. There's just not a lot out there. There's not a lot in terms of trees boxing you in. It's very difficult to get building walls up and stuff like that. And so Ulan raids are very much a very important part of this matchup. And we'll see whether or not either player can get some sort of big raiding action. Of course, controlling the map is always important. Being able to control your second and third hunts. This map typically has a pretty good chunk of hunts available on it, so that's usually not too big of an issue, but the longer this game goes, the more Ulans get trained. Of course, we're going to see tons of vet Ulans when we get into the third age. Does usually result in some very scary situations. I know anytime I play against a German player, and he's in the third age, and I know he's got vet Ulans, it just feels so risky moving out of your base to gather hunts, but it is something that both players will have to contend with at some point in this game, and well, maybe we'll see something tricky. Maybe we'll see someone do something a little bit different.
Maybe we will. It's hard to say right at this point in the game, but anything can happen, and by the looks of it, it is Samwise12 that's going to come across this wood treasure. It's going to be pretty pleased about that. It's definitely given him a big push. Well, to do whatever he wants to do. Wood is always a very useful resource, but equally, LordRaphael picking up the settler, and I feel like at this point, fairly equal in terms of treasures found. Though LordRaphael has found more of them, but arguably not quite as substantial.
Yeah.
So there's that at this point. I think treasures do favour the blue player here, but wood is probably the more valuable resource early on. What do you think he'll do with that?
Well, I'm curious to see what he's going to do with it, because whether or not it'll be just like a second TP. I think this is going to be kind of an unfortunate event for him. I believe he's running up here to check on this TP route.
Yeah.
It's kind of the natural thing to do, right? You want to try and keep your TPs close together so they're easier to defend. You also want to build them far away from your opponent's base, but unfortunately for him, he's going to walk up there and immediately run into a LordRaphael's TP, which means he's trying to avoid this one to begin with. And so if he wants another somewhat safe one, he's going to have to run all the way over here, which is a very long way across the map, and something that he probably doesn't want to do. And we'll see whether or not maybe he even just changes his build as a result of that and only picks up one TP.
Yeah, could be it. Might use the wood for something else. Certainly makes the market upgrades easier to get, and steel traps as a result of that as well. Equally, and one TP is fine. I guess at this point the value of it does go down quite a lot. I think he did really want that one, as you mentioned, and then spent some time walking over to the settler treasure, which actually ended up being gone, not there at all. And by the time he does get to finish building the next trading post, he's lost perhaps a couple of passes, and the value of that goes down significantly. But Samwise12 is the first player up to the colonial age. There, 400 wood on the floor. We'll have to see what he decides to slam down with that. And no doubt will be as stable, unless there is something funky afoot, as Zua has mentioned that it was possible for there to be. No, it looks like a stable. And similarly, by the looks of it, the blue player also going to be doing that. Steel traps definitely now in queue for Samwise, as we can see there. Both players overpopped here, and I suspect both players will be seeing 700 wood. No. 3 settler wagons out of them as their first shipments.
Yep, very popular shipment, 3 settler wagons. Interestingly enough, I think Sam is actually sending 700 wood, like you mentioned, because his pop cap didn't overcap him nearly as much. And there's his 700 wood. But as you mentioned, LordRaphael is certainly sending 3 settler wagons. And we're going to see a discrepancy in builds right away. Sam sending that 700 wood perhaps could throw down a Rax with that. Or maybe he wants to just grab the full trading route line, something like that. Lots of options of what he can do with this 700 wood. We'll see what it's going to end up resulting in. Looks like for the time being, posting up here in the middle of the map, looking to begin taking another trading site.
Yeah, by the looks of it. And I think that tells us he might have a Fortress Age agenda in mind. But then considering the 700 wood, perhaps not. Actually, more colonial because of the wood. The 3 villages is really what you'd be sending there for that. 700 wood followed up by the blue player, though. Barracks does come down, so Dop Ulan, that is something that can happen. I entirely forgotten about at the very beginning of this matchup. That'll be interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not only something that can happen, but I think it's very, very strong, especially against Ulans, which have very low hit points, but very high attack. The Dops can punish them quite hard if they get into a good position. So Rax is down for Sam. If we flip over to units in queue, military...
Ooh, bit of an engagement here. I want to know, are the Dops in queue?
Yeah, they are. There are Dops
Oh,
in queue, but it looks like they're not going to be here. Dops take a pretty long time to train, so
they do.
he's not going to have them immediately. But he does have 4 of them in queue, and is going to be making a Dop Oolong composition. And certainly, you know, when you have 4 Doppelsonder in queue, you're pretty much signaling to your opponent your intention of staying in the second age, right? I mean,
Yep.
you don't sink 600 additional coin into a batch of Doppelsonders with the intentions of immediately aging behind. It's just not feasible. So those Dops are going to come out, and it looks like Sam's going to push, going to try and defend this training site. And LordRaphael, on the other hand, has just shipped 2 settler wagons. Looks like he's playing the more traditional semi-FF style.
Yeah, by the looks of that. Blue no longer going to push that trading post. Exploring the same batch of units, that's going to slow him down a lot. Actually, does this engagement is going to happen. He's been attacked by the yellow units that are going to snare and keep him in place. Doppelsonders of his own coming out, though, so fairly even fight. I do think it favors Blue in terms of unit population, but some good
Man.
depends on the positioning of the Dops to a large extent, this.
Oh yeah, it depends, and it's so hard to see the Dops in here and to focus them down. But it looks like you mentioned, LordRaphael getting much better trade there. Comes out the victor almost certainly. Still has all 5 of his Doppelsonder left alive, and as a result now is going to be able to kill this trading site, no issues whatsoever, and continue to push down on Sam's position. And now all of a sudden things are looking really poor for Sam. Actually, his infrastructure is still fine, but his hunts are starting to run out in base. He hasn't done actually that great of a job of hurting these little batch of pronghorn. His bison are even starting to get away, and he's starting to lose the map quite hard. I mean, he's lost 1 trading site. He certainly is going to lose this one as well. Doesn't have any sort of formulated response, and things are starting to look actually pretty dire here for the yellow player.
Yeah, that's right. You know, these Dops just going to tear through those unit. The
trading post.
Economy population's really high as well. Sam does hit up to the next stage though, and that's valuable.
Yeah, but the only thing is you have to wonder whether or not LordRaphael is just going to be able to come in here and timing push with this big batch of Dops. He does have his own age up in queue currently.
He does.
But I don't know. Imagine if the Dops just came in here and started sieging down houses. Sam's already in kind of an awkward position where he's lost a lot of infrastructure. He's lost 400 wood worth of trading posts, and if the market or the barracks or anything here were to get under siege before the 8 skirmisher shipment were to come out, it could have potentially caused a fairly large issue, and as a result, I don't know, it could have put him in a very awkward position. Not the case. LordRaphael does back up. Maybe the safer, more controlled decision due to the fact that he is aging himself, but maybe there was an opportunity to strike at Samwise12 in that situation.
Yeah, I absolutely could see that, right? You know, there's a lot of Dops here. We would have had quite a high siege potential. Can tear down perhaps definitely that house and possibly even the barracks as well and cause some real problems for Sam. These 3 cavalry coming in there for a cheeky raid. It does force a lot of villagers off the coin mine, and that represents a little bit of coin lost to the yellow player. But war wagons going to scare them off, clean that up quite nicely. The 2 Yulons do get away, but they're still there. They could come back later on. But looks like by the looks of it, Sam White looks like by the looks of it. What a phrase. What a great phrase. Yeah. Lots of war wagons there, and it's quite a heavy anti-cavalry focus at this point.
It is worth mentioning, usually we mention how poor war wagons are because of this fact, but worth mentioning that the melee resistance for the war wagons actually helps them in regards to the Doppelsonder, right? I mean, he's well aware that his opponent has that 7 Doppelsonders that were out sieging his TP, and so the war wagon's 20% melee resistance actually does give them a little bit of benefit in this situation. Now, of course, he's down, the trading site. He doesn't have a trading post still available to him, so his shipment progression is a little bit slower, but compositionally speaking, he's not in too poor of a position. The war wagons will actually do an okay job of dealing with both the Dops and the Uhlans, and he currently has a slight skirmisher advantage, having sent the 8 skirmisher shipment and trained a few from his barracks as well. So if Sam were to push in right now, I think the military composition is slightly in his favor, just due to the fact that he did get aged up a little bit earlier. But the longer this game goes, the more that trading site is going to start to matter for LordRaphael as the next shipments continue to progress out here on the field.
Yeah, poking in right now, some skirmishes. Can they pick up any kills? The answer is not quite. The Greatcoat's upgrades has absolutely been researched for the blue player, and not the yellow player, though. His village has got a lot less hit points. But the point is, no casualties there. Jaegers do come out as his next shipment. That represents a large power spike here, and now suddenly... just these yellow skirms on their own, they can't fight this. Those war wagons absolutely don't want to get anywhere near these Jaegers and their fancy blue hats, because war wagons are really quite bad against skirmishers due to not having a range resist, especially war wagons, which move slower, and Jaegers are like ultra hypercharged skirms, so yellow definitely going to be getting back here and perhaps waiting to add more units to his composition to deal with this. He's not going to want to fight that right now, and as you can see, has walked all the way back across the map towards his base. Even villagers on this food pile are going to be moved away. He's going to have to find new locations to gather food, and that's going to slow him down in the short term with regards to making more units as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. I want to point out briefly that I think Sam has a read on this location. He's probably seen some of the hunts go down there, and it looked like he was going to try and branch out some cav to go raid down there, but unfortunately LordRaphael pushing out across the map forced him to come back, and oh man, and this is what we were talking about at the start of the game, right? This feels so dangerous, and there's no help anywhere.
Oh, just a small wall from there to the village would have made this... that is really, really bad for him. Going to lose a significant portion of his economy here. These aren't just villages, they're settler wagons, which count for 2, as we know, and they're all going to go down. You can see that lightsaber up in the top left slowly getting bigger in the blue side. It looks like there is, going to push this back, but it's too late. The response is a little bit too slow, and most of the villagers are gone there, and that really does dampen Yellow's ability to do well in this game. He is going to have to even that up pretty soon. As you mentioned, you thought he had a read. The villagers have moved from the coin mine that was nearby, but still the coin mine that they've moved to is sort of still near that location, and if he does go down there, he's likely to come across it. Perhaps if he can get a counter raid in, but he's going to have to do that pretty soon, or make something happen.
He needs to make something happen, or he is in a horrible position. I mean, like you mentioned, just looking at the military unit populations, the economic unit populations, Sam is just behind in all regards, and he needs. Catching these Ulans would be a great start. Yeah, then he needs to transition it into pressure on this coin mine immediately following that, because otherwise he's going to be in a very awkward situation. The fortunate thing for him is LordRaphael's army is a little bit out of position.
He is. He's very far away. Yeah. These Doppelsonners are dangerously close to these villages. They might even see that one yellow villager and suspect where he's going. But the more important thing up here is that he has managed to capture Blue's cavalry there. Going to kill them and put the military population a little bit back in his favor. He is nearby that coin mine, but Blue player not going to leave his villagers nearby there. He's not silly. They've already gotten out. And I think all really Blue has to do is survive, and he wins the game.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's not a ton of anti-cav here now all of a sudden, right? I mean, he was
absolutely true.
He was going to be banking on the Ulans to body block it, and now all of a sudden, okay, there it is. Never mind, the cavalry has arrived.
Quite literally.
Yeah, quite literally.
And with the villagers mixed in here as well, there's no way Yellow's going to be able to keep up this fight. He's going to have to get back here, and I think that might spell a quick end to game number 3.
Yeah, especially we still have to consider the Jaegers sitting here in the back doing so much damage. The front line for Samwise12 is going to drop so quickly to these powered-up skirms in the back for LordRaphael. Sam was able to kill quite a few military units here, and quite a few economic units as well, but LordRaphael winning this fight quite hard. We can look at the military unit population behind this, and despite the fact that Sam has pretty much evened up the economic unit population, the real concern has to be whether or not he's ever going to be able to deal with this standing army. And with, still 9 Jaegers out on the field, I have an unfortunate feeling that the answer is going to be no.
Yeah, that's so many units to deal with, and look where they're heading, right over here back to this coin mine, it feels like, and of course this food nearby, which you can see dead on the map. And those villagers are either going to die or be forced to move away, and I just don't think Yellow's going to be able to deal with that. Is going to be able to stop it at all. Looks like he's going to be building on the Cheyenne settlement, which is... Oh no, that's a house. Okay.
It would have been kind of neat. I mean, if he was able to get the Cheyenne settlement up, he could get the tech that gives him a bunch of bison for it and give him somewhere safe to hunt from. But
Yeah.
I don't think
like-
that's probably on his radar. That's something that very rarely happens.
Yeah, I mean, like, and even when you do it, like, you're spending quite a lot of resources on just improving your map, basically, and it feels like that's a losing position anyway. Minutemen are called, and the couple of units he can cobble together come forward to vend this location, but the GG comes out, those villages are not safe nearby, and the military he did have in the area just clearly isn't enough, and that does spell a victory to the blue player, LordRaphael, bringing himself up to 2-1 in this series. It's by no means over, though. This is a best of 5. But it is now match point for LordRaphael, who only needs 3 victories to progress to the round of 8, I believe, which is the quarterfinals. So things getting tight here. Can Sam even it up, back up to 2-2? Find out soon. But let's take a look at the post game, Zua.
Yeah, the interesting thing to look at will be that villager spike. If you look at the villagers count at like 1250-ish, just look at that massive hit that Sam took. It's
Both players took a large... Oh, that was during that fight, wasn't it?
That was during the fight, and I mean, if you look at the military unit populations that correspond with it, right? Like, so if you look at the time when Sam lost villagers, which was like 12 and a half minutes, realistically, the military unit populations didn't swing at all. And if you look at like 15-ish minutes, where LordRaphael lost a whole bunch of villagers, look what was also happening at that same time. Sam's entire army was dying, which represents his ability to continue to control the game. And it didn't really matter that LordRaphael was losing villagers. So kind of a tough situation for him there, but we'll see what happens in game number 4. Game number 4 is going to be on a non-TP map, and I think we'll see some India play, perhaps.
Some India, possibly Japan, maybe some British, lots of civs that aren't, don't require a trading post per se. But yeah, quite a volatile matchup is this German mirror. What do you think of like adding in outposts next to those resource gathering locations to stop those massive Ulan swarms killing all of your villages? I know they're expensive, but is that something you can do?
Say that again. Sorry, I was reading the chat, and some people are saying the bit rate is too high, so I'm going to lower it a little bit.
Yeah, you don't have quality options just yet. Well, actually, you might. Actually, don't worry. I'll just cut this video. You should get quality options sooner rather than later.
There's some people are like hashtag lower quality, and some people are like hashtag higher quality. It's so difficult when you lose your quality options.
Well, do you want me to stream a 480p crappy quality version, and you can keep the high quality stream?
I mean, that's up to you. Well, it's up to the people here. I turned it down a little bit.
Actually, I won't bother. Yeah, I'll just split the audience, and then yeah, it doesn't matter. You've turned it down now. That fixes it.
All right, game number 4. Match point for LordRaphael. Sam probably taking one of his little breaks.
I'm going to make a tips and tricks video on... I'm going to write that down right now. On how unit stats work. I've got like a list of about 50 videos I want to make, which I will make at some point. But I'm really stacking up the list of good ideas for tips and tricks.
Yeah, I had an idea for things that I wanted to, or for like a video that I was thinking of making with just like, you know how, did you ever watch any of my AOE 101 videos? It was basically like take a civ, like, and here's a good builder that works in like 90% of situations with this civ, and here's what you do with it for the first 10 minutes, just to like help you get off the ground.
No, I didn't see that, but
it's like
a
visual tutorial.
Yeah, that's. I think that'd be a really good thing to make. I think that's like the one resource Age of Empires lacks to a large extent outside of like the guide's good speed rights. But you know, there's nothing in a video format. I think you should. Yeah, you could make those videos.
I think it would be like good. Like here's how you do a French 5 Hus semi-FF or something like that. Just like the most basic strategies, so that people like that are somewhat new to the game, maybe you just bought it on Steam, maybe you came from like another somewhat like competitive game and you want to try and like learn to be good, but you don't like know where to start. You don't know like what's a good build. Like you don't even. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the people who've been playing this game have been playing it for like 10 or 11 years, right? They know so much about it, and so things that seem trivial to us, like cav openings with friends, like may not seem trivial to a new player, even if they're quite good at the game. So,
to a large extent, watching this game on Twitch requires quite a lot of like assumed knowledge.
Yeah,
and
certainly is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we can kind of circumvent that by just like catching people up to speed, so that because I mean we so often we just talk and take for granted the fact that people know what the benefits of opening cav are, right? But maybe a lot of people don't necessarily know, especially if you're new to the game. Maybe you're not aware of why like a 5 cav semi-FF is good. Maybe you don't know that like units get shadow teched when they get to the next stage, and that's the reason like specifically why you want to age is like for those very strong upgrades and stuff.
That's
like that.
a good. I'm gonna write shadow tech down. I'm gonna throw that word, an explanation of it, into the how stats work video.
Because that's a really important concept, right? The fact that when you age up, like your skirmishers, not only are they like good units mechanically, but they get this like hidden bonus for the aging up. Like it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I want to make like civilization guides, but by guides I don't mean like what you're making is like build order like discussions and stuff. I wanted to make like a idiot's guide for like British get 3 villages when they make a house kind of guide, because like
that's important as well, because you remember that card that used to come with the game. Like there used to be, you used to get like when you had the box set, there was like a little card, and it was like a fold out, and you could open it up and you could see like here's all the bonuses of the civs. Like Ottoman doesn't have to train villagers. Like you don't get that card anymore, right? If you're just gonna pick a civ blindly, you have no idea that Ottoman doesn't need to train villagers, or the Brits get a free villager, or that Spain has more XP, or something like that, right?
Like what surprises me is like the sheer number of people who watch my videos who don't subscribe, like who it's like really it's much higher. I get much more views from people who never end up subscribing than I do from subscribers, and I think all these people can't possibly. And some of my most popular videos are really basic things. If you look at all the tips and tricks, if you look at all of the some of the earlier videos, like
yeah, certainly, absolutely. Sam, of course, just like has the completely wrong version of this mount.
Apparently, I'm hosting you rather than ESOC. I'll fix that now. No, I am hosting ESOC. What was they talking about? I am hosting ESOC, not Zuta. Right. Well, that was a waste of time. But thanks for telling me about that. Definitely hosting ESOC. Are you still here?
Yep, I'm here. There's just like this. Zuta, are you still with us?
What else I can tell you about on this list? Let's take a look.
Yeah, what's your list? I'm curious to hear about your...
I'll just read like a couple of things from the top of the list. Host cancelled the game. Okay, we've got double-clicking units and unit selection. Wow, that is basic. Because a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, what are those banners in the top left? You know, like your control groups.
Yeah.
So I need to make a video on control groups, basically, which is unit selection, effectively. A select all military unit hotkey, and how that is a feature, but you shouldn't get, like, used to using it all the time, like I am. Teleporting units through the town center. There's a lot of the times people just go, why are you putting units in the TC at the start of the game? It's like, well, the Zuta's box theorem is on there.
Good.
I've literally written A's dank unit popping.
Yeah, like the timing of your Minutemen in a shipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, timings. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to write that word next to it. Timings. It's all on my phone, so whenever I think of something just on the bus or whatever I'm doing. I've got unit stances, including stand ground for your daimyo.
Yes, great.
Yeah,
And like the stagger mode against cannons.
Yeah, I'll write that down. Stagger mode. Oh shit, I pressed the wrong button on my phone and it disappeared. Oh, that's... Oh no, there it is. I sound like one of those old people that don't know how to use their technology.
What's this computer?
What does this do?
What's this button do? Just clicking random stuff.
Resource gather rates, and then I'll like really make a point of going, mills are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should like run a graphic that shows like just how bad mills are as well, right? Like
Yeah. Like on my live stream channel, a lot of people are just like, why don't you just build a mill? It's like, no. Yeah, my other channel has got lots of games of me playing on it. Stealing treasures, like I want to point out how that is something you should do, and is not just like you being BM. Like a lot of people are just like, you're a dick. You stole his treasure on my live stream channel. I'm like, oh, okay.
like no, that's something you should do.
Yeah, pillarless walls. I thought that was just an interesting thing I could do.
You should do some like I don't know something about herding, like because there's something.
I've already done that.
Oh, okay, because that's like something that still I see a lot of people like struggle with.
Yeah, that's like one of the most... The thing is, I've done that video twice. Like, once on my old channel and once on my main, and it's still like the most popular video on both of them.
Right, yeah. Well, because it's like such an important concept in this game.
Yeah.
You can't afford to not herd unless you're Japan Kappa.
And Fast Fortress, what is it? A lot of people go, what's a Fast Fortress?
Yep.
I just want to just say a Fast Fortress is this, and it'd just be like a 30-second video. Like it'd just be like, this is what it is, and like I won't say what civs it's good for or anything like that. This is what it is.
Right.
Semi asked Fast Fortress as well. Why war wagons are bad? Why halberdiers are bad? Because I often get asked on videos and comments, why don't you make this unit? Why is this unit bad? This unit is great. What are you talking about? Kind of comments. So.
You should talk about just like the general goodness of musket hussar compositions and like why it's so good and why mechanically it's so easy. Like why everyone below PR30 should abuse the crap out of musk huss.
Yep. Hold on, give me a sec. Okay.
Because that's good. H2O says never recommend stagger mode, please. Do you remember the player Chalet?
Yeah, Chalet.
Yeah, he used to just run his units around in stagger mode, like just like by default, like that was just like the default mode that he would put his units in. And
Why?
Well, I don't know. It just annoyed Ryan, and I think he started to do it even more just to annoy Ryan. Ryan and Chalet didn't really like each other, and so every time they'd have to play, like Chalet would just like pop his units into stagger mode. And I think Ryan has this unjustified bias against stagger mode just because of how much Emily used to do it against him. All right, Cascade range though.
Yeah, why are we still waiting? I was like, what am I telling you about all of my future tips and tricks ideas that I probably might not ever end up doing? And no, I will do them. But, yeah, we need to get this underway. Game number 3.
Yeah.
No, 4. This is important.
Game number 4. Cascade range, non-TP map, worth noting. Suspect that Sam would feel pretty comfortable playing India. I don't know how well LordRaphael plays India. In fact, I don't know that he does play India all that much. I want to take a look at his home cities. Does have an India home city. In fact, has a lot of India home cities. But the scary part to me is they are levels 40, 40, and 80, which tells me that he probably has just created them in general and maybe not ever like actually played them. So. I don't think LordRaphael will play India. Perhaps he'll play something like British? I mean, he's got to try and figure out something that works without a TP, right? This is the time when he can start going back to civs. He could take French again, but I suspect he would perhaps want to save that for map number 5, where he's going to have a TP again. So I'm curious as to what he'll select here.
Yeah, definitely the interesting part, isn't it? That's the thing about maps. It's like suddenly the map dictates to a large extent what civs can be played or are good to be played. And I think that in the balancing of games like Age of Empires and actually StarCraft recently as well, or actually for all of time, really, is maps are a big part of that.
Yeah, certainly they are. They almost certainly are. I had another idea. Cover mode is something you should talk about.
Yeah, that comes with...
Maybe specifically like cover mode monks.
Yep. Like the difference between cover mode and stagger mode as well.
Yeah.
I'll write it down.
Maybe just all of the different modes. Like you could probably cover them all in one time. Like the melee mode, cover mode, stagger mode, trample mode. That one will be short. Please never do this.
Well, it's okay versus 1 HP Minutemen.
Yes.
It's really cute when that happens, it's really effective.
It's the only time I can see stagger mode being good.
You mean trample mode?
Trample mode, yeah.
Yeah. Like misconceptions. Does that mode actually damage your own units when you use it? I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, I think so. Or at least I think that's the intention.
What do you think of, like, because in Age of Empires 2, there's a elevation advantage. If you're, like, up a hill, you get an advantage.
Yep.
Like, that's just a mechanic of AoE 2, but I think it'd be kind of dumb in AoE 3.
Yeah, I don't know that it makes a lot of, like, sense, yeah. It's a bit strange in AoE 2 as well. Like,
yeah.
It's something that... Yeah. It's something that I definitely wouldn't consider, like...
I wouldn't like it in this game, but that might be because I'm biased about this one. I think it fits AoE 2, and it's a part of the game, and there's, like, I wouldn't, like, if I had control of it, of course I wouldn't remove it. It's part of the game, and that's just that, but, like, Anyway, Dutch Mirror.
Dutch Mirror, no French.
Hold on. Let's get this recording going. Alright, Dutch Mirror, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 4 in this best of 5 series. Match point, as we mentioned, to LordRaphael's. Currently on 2 victories, and Samwise on 1. Dutch Mirror.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty good sip without a TP, and of course that's what this map is, isn't it? Cascade range.
Yep, that's absolutely true. And, I mean, we're running through some of the possibilities of civs to take without TPs. Things like Brits and India came up. I don't think either of us mentioned Dutch, but certainly, like you say, Dutch not very reliant on the trading post. And yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. I feel like Sam is kind of just playing into LordRaphael's hand here, though. He's continually playing civs that... I think LordRaphael is really comfortable with, which, I mean, I don't know that is necessarily something wise for him to do.
Samwise for him to do.
That's maybe not Samwise for him to do.
Yeah.
Especially 12 times.
12 tens?
12 times.
Oh. I thought you said 12 tens. I was like, what? Like a 12-10 with Dutch shit?
Well, that could be interesting.
Yeah, it could be. You could do it. Like, it's something you could do it. I'm not sure it'd be good, but...
It's available. You would also have to leave 100 coin just, like, sitting on the floor.
For no reason. Yeah, true. Alright, well, apparently I've... Oh, God, there was... Can you introduce the players?
Yeah, sure. Spawning in the right, bottom right side of the map, in the color orange, playing the Dutch civilization, on this Cascade Range map, which does not have a trading post, Samwise12, and his opponent spawning in the upper left side of the map in the color blue, playing the Dutch civilization as well. A Dutch mirror, going to be LordRaphael. Of course, these two guys currently in game number 4 of this series, 2 games to 1 in favor of LordRaphael. This is match point. Should LordRaphael win this match, he will advance to the round of 8. Where he will play a player to be determined yet, I believe. I think there still are a couple matchups still remaining in the round of 16, but the quarterfinals already upon us in this tournament, and as a result, The winner of this will be playing that round of 8 matchup. So Sam, on his last breath here, needs to pull a victory in order to continue the hope of repeating as the champion in the Winter Championship.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have to see what he has in mind for this. You mentioned that Samwise playing into the civilizations that perhaps LordRaphael is familiar with, or is more comfortable with. Samwise12 is probably no doubt quite good as Dutch as well. Certainly would have had to have been back in the day when Dutch was the in thing, I suppose. Probably has some experience playing Dutch is the point, and will pull out it's clearly definitely a worthy opponent. Looking forward to this match, and we'll have to see how it unfolds. Has indeed left his wood crate on the floor there. Actually, no, he hasn't. There's only 20 wood left in it.
Yep, and actually, it was kind of interesting that he left that there because he picked up the 40 wood treasure as well. Oh no, I was wondering if he had factored that into his build, but no.
Oh right, he was like, I don't need to collect this wood treasure anymore. It's slowing me down. I can collect food now.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, so this map does have a lot of those little bear treasures as well with the wood. Traditionally, I've seen loads of them spawn there. So I thought maybe he would just assumed he was going to run into one, but not the case. Already had his house built and just left a little bit of that wood on the floor.
Yep, is still in hand combat with that explorer there. These two blue units. Looks like he's probably just going to get the age up in queue. Which he's very, very close to doing. He's got 800 foot, there it is, and then most likely put some villagers in that town center and kill off those units there. The envoy looks like the envoy actually going to stay. He realizes that it's probably too late for that to keep that alive. What do you think of this? He's probably going to lose his explorer, the blue player that is.
Yeah, I mean he can still run, and as long as he gets out of the TC range and still has more hit points, Sam will be forced to let him go. Oh, he's got 1 more HP. Oh yeah.
Willem de Ruyter, get wrecked. Serves you right, LordRaphael, for being... That was a really ambitious trying to kill the Orange Explorer there when you're literally in your opponent's base. I think that's often risky. It didn't pay off. Lost his Explorer and his Envoy there. And now Orange is free to move around the map, perhaps pick up these muskrat treasures that haven't been claimed just yet. His opponent doesn't have that option available to him. And of course the blue player isn't going to have any scouting information. It's going to be quite tough now that he doesn't have an envoy to get that explorer back, because it is on the other side of the map and it'll need somebody next to it to pick that up. But fortunate for LordRaphael, this matchup is fairly predictable, and the lack of scouting isn't going to be a huge problem for him, but certainly something he no longer has for the time being.
Also worth mentioning that because it's a non-TP map, you can be a little bit more risky with your scout in situations like this, because you're not... I mean, if you were Germans on a TP map, you would never in a million years take that risk, right? Running your Explorer up into TC range, perhaps getting caught losing him, risk not being able to build a trading post. But because of the matchup, because of the map, not as much of a concern, and as a result, being able to take a little bit more liberty with how he spends that scout HP. Samwise12, LordRaphael, aging up at about the same time, both plopping down a bank. Going to be building that up, and we'll see what comes out of these 400 wood crates, whether or not it's another bank or whether we have stable starts. Stable starts. Oof,
Stable starts.
That's tricky to say 3 times fast. See whether or not we have some stables coming down here for our Dutch players.
Yeah, we will. That's the next interesting thing, I suppose. By the looks of it, for Samwise, probably going to be a bank. He almost has all the resources for that. I would have imagined would have plopped down the foundations for stable sooner rather than later, once he got that 200 wood. Does look like that is going to be the case. Second bank does come down. LordRaphael electing to do the same thing. The next big question, right, is what will their first shipments be? Traditionally, you'd send a bank wagon, but or is that right? Both players sending wood here.
Yeah, if you're going to do like the traditional stable on 400 wood plus 2 houses, you would send the bank wagon and then train Hussar. But if you're going to just get 4 banks up and do kind of like this in-between eco build, perhaps make a market with your 700 wood, stuff like that, slightly more economic style, then 700 wood is the right call. So both players going with that very economic style. That 700 wood will allow them to build their stables. Looks like Sam even going to be adding in a Rax here, perhaps just going to be playing Age 2 play with his Dutch. Yeah, that is very interesting to me because, I mean, traditionally this matchup, much like many of the other European matchups, does tend to play out in the third age quite frequently, but Sam dropping down some houses, has his stable down, has his barracks down as well, and it looks like he's just going to send his bank wagon now and perhaps just do some sort of aggressive play here.
Yeah, could be coming out of him. At this point, he's not committed, is he, to staying H2? But this does indicate that he might have thoughts about doing that. Let's take a look at the units in queue and see if he is choosing to train anything. Just Hussars? No, he does have pikemen in queue as well. Does Samwise12? So this is clearly electing to play H2 by the looks of it. I see no reason to make pikemen otherwise.
Yeah, he's still chopping wood as well, and realistically, had he been planning to go to the third age, you would never in a million years just plop down a barracks with Dutch blindly. You would want to use that 200 wood in a more intelligent way. Dutch is a civ that pretty much avoids chopping wood at all costs if they're going to the third age, and we can see still chopping wood, building some pikes is not something that you would expect out of a Dutch player intending to go to the third age. So LordRaphael has the more standard, like Cav semi-FF look to his base. Having 4 banks up, has the market on the 700 wood, like we mentioned, but does not have the barracks. So LordRaphael going to be in for a bit of the surprise here, I feel like, when these pikes show up at his base.
Yeah, though it is only 2 pikemen, but which aren't particularly threatening. Hasn't seen them just yet, so the surprise is still there. Back in his base, though, we do see some cavalry of the blue player that have turned up, but orange cav have been trained as well. They've just came out and they're able to deflect this, and they managed to snare the orange cav and having a little bit of a micro fight there, trying to move the units around. Does have some aid from that town center, so it looks like orange should win this fight. Actually, though, blue doing pretty okay.
Pretty good micro out of LordRaphael. They're actually picking up a couple extra Hussar kill, despite the fact that he was kind of trapped. Looks like Sam going to come in here, be able to clean it up, but LordRaphael getting 4 cav for his 4 cav, and he forced a retreat out of the aggressive units of Samwise12. If you take a look at these pikemen, they were forced to come all the way back home, and so LordRaphael going to be very, very happy with that. Certainly going to be pleased. Has his 4 banks up, has his infrastructure in a good position, and as a result, certainly, I think going to be pretty happy with the situation he's in. Interestingly enough, looks like going to be shipping 600 wood and staying in the second age himself, but for his troubles, because he did ship, or because he did build his barracks a little bit later on his 600 wood, he is going to have the ability to get that 4th bank up. So 4 banks versus 3 right now. If we look at the economic unit population, that's kind of shining through right now with the calculator on.
Yeah. Some pikemen of his own coming out. They're going to be pretty good against these cav. And now he's stuck in his opponent's base for a little bit. Worth pointing out the Minutemen have already arrived. They're already there. But they're going to be hard to kill without any ranged units per se. And they're all at 1 HP. So he's going to have to waste a whole hit of 30 damage from a Hussar to finish them up. This doesn't look like it's too good of a fight for Orange, if I'm being honest. And now he's trying to retreat out of there. And with all these units attacking him, he's going to lose a lot on the retreat as well. This is really not too good for him.
Yeah,
and he's a bank behind, as
you
mentioned.
Really poor. I mean, he's behind economically. Both players have gone with mirroring builds in terms of cards, so they're straight on even in that regard. But now all of a sudden, LordRaphael has himself a very large advantage in terms of just sheer military population. Still has many of those Minutemen left alive, and is going to be able to pick off the pikes with those quite nicely. Still has 5 of them alive.
And pikes versus pikes just represents really not very much damage at all. The Minutemen in the back are doing so much work. Pikes only do 8 damage to other pikemen, and it's just like with the Minutemen. Yeah, GG. That is the end of the game, and that is the end of Sam's tournament life. Coming to a quick close in this game number 4. That is that. Well played to LordRaphael, and congratulations to him on making the round of 8. It'll be interesting to see how he fares, I believe, against... well, it depends... He's on the other side of the bracket from H2O, but H2O already through to the round of 8, I believe, up against Maito?
Yeah, H2O is going to be playing Maito in the round of 8, that quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, and LordRaphael also going to be going to the round of 8, but as Zuta said, his opponent hasn't been decided just yet. Yeah, they're still to play this round of 16.
I'm curious to see who it is. I want to look at the bracket so that we can see our potential matchups for the next matchup. I'm going to bring it over here on the screen so we can look. Samwise12 and LordRaphael just played. LordRaphael.
Do you want to link it to me?
Yes, LordRaphael will be playing the winner of Garja and Bonang in the next matchup.
Ooh, well, that'll be an interesting one. Yeah, so you can see at this point in the game, right, the players remaining, just judging from, you said Gaia and Boning are playing. This game right here was Samwise and LordRaphael. H2O, who did he play? Well, I've got the bracket in front of me. Let me bring it on screen.
Game. Played Acer game.
Oh, so, and Acer is clearly a very strong player, got to the finals of the previous tournament. Maito and Ramex, both very big names I've heard of. Maito there, I think, was the expected outcome, and clearly actually won 3-0. Lots of big names at this point are going through to these final parts of the tournament, and I think at this, really any one of those names could end up winning it. Yeah. I think the particular one most people will be interested in looking out for is H2O, but that is largely because he almost won the very first one of these tournaments and did not play in the one after that. So it'd be really interesting to see if he does have, if he can take it all the way to the finals, and to see who will meet him there should he get that far.
Yeah, so it'll be LordRaphael versus Garjar Boning, and then in the other quarterfinal matchup, it will be Mongo 10 versus either Kinesi or Yumiu. And then down in the bottom side of the bracket, we're going to have H2O versus Maito for one of the quarterfinals, and then Diaraga versus our boy Ron, Michael Rondon.
Yep.
Ron Weasley going to be represented in the other quarterfinal. So some pretty good matchups there. And if you look at some of the semifinals that could be shaping up, something like H2O versus Diaraga and LordRaphael versus Kinesi, those would be just some absolutely terrific matches to watch as well. So
yep.
Great semifinals. If we're playing bracket pick'em, let's play some bracket pick'em. So I think Garja will prevail in the Bonang series. LordRaphael has just beaten Samwise12, so I think we'll see LordRaphael versus Garja, and I think LordRaphael will sneak a victory there as well. Mongo 10 is currently in the round of 8. Kinesi and Yumiu are yet to play, and I think that'll be a very close matchup, but I just love Kinesi's unique playstyle, so I'm going to pick him.
Yeah, Kinesi currently undefeated at this point, worth pointing out.
Yep. So I'm going to pick him, and then Kinesi...
To be fair, so is Armada, actually.
Yeah.
And
Kinesi versus Mongo, I think I'm going to pick Kinesi. And then LordRaphael versus Kinesi, I think I would pick... LordRaphael. And then the bottom side, H2O versus Maito, I have to pick H2O. And then Ron versus Diaraga, I think I have to pick Diaraga. And then H2O versus Diaraga, I think I pick H2O, and that leaves my final as LordRaphael versus H2O.
Yeah, I agree with you on all of that. The only one that I was less sure of is Gaia and Bonang.
Yeah.
Bonang actually beat Gaia fairly convincingly in the grand finals of PK Clan Tournament 4, and by the looks of it, Bonang has had less of a hard time getting this far as well. Up against Kiljadi, who, as an opponent, is somebody I think is very, very strong. Kiljadi is somebody who I think actually beat Gaia in the Spring Championships, and Bonang clearly, had no problem with Kiljadi, whereas Gaia actually did in that previous tournament. I don't think Gaia was as serious about that tournament as he is in this one, but yeah, I think overall those outcomes are the ones I would also put my money on.
It will be a fun watch, regardless. The one thing I'm slightly disappointed about is we're not going to see the Samwise12 versus H2O final.
Yeah,
that I so desperately wanted. I mean, I'm really happy with the fact that LordRaphael beats him. He's a newer player, some fresh blood. I think he played phenomenally. He absolutely deserved to win this match today. He just played better than Sam straight out in all 3 games that he won. He just outclassed Sam, but part of me deep down just really, really wanted to see another Samwise12 versus H2O final.
Yeah, and if you're listening this far into the video, you're probably quite a fan of watching these kind of videos. So I'm just going to put some links in the description to some Samwise12 versus H2O games that are very, very old from back in the day. Casted by 36 Drew, I believe. Somebody was actually the person who inspired me to make Age of Empires 3 commentary was that guy. So if you want to see why this channel, where it came from, that guy, I'll put the links to those games. Sadly, we won't be seeing it in 2015 or 2016. Wait, what year is it? Holy shit.
2016.
Okay.
2016.
Won't be seeing it, but it happened then, and I just wanted like links to Age of Empires 3 heritage, basically. But I think that's it from me today, unless there are more tournament games coming up, Zeta.
I think that's it for tournament games. I do quickly want to mention Saturday SmackDown Battle Royale that will be happening next Saturday. Sign-ups are currently open. There have been 17 players who have already signed up for SmackDown that the community will be voting on. How it's going to work, people are going to be signing up. I'm going to link that sign-up thread here in a moment.
Yeah, and basically the changes are, well, no changes. But what will be available is a $100 prize pool put forward by Zuta, the guy who turns it up every week, has been making this happen. And best of 7 between 2 players, but for $100, so stakes will be high, and the quality of the players should also be high because they'll be taking it more seriously. And I think the people who will be competing will be stronger players anyway. So SmackDown should be fun for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it'll be really fun. So
I mean, it's already fun, but this is going to really put the icing on the cake, right?
We'll ramp up the stakes a little bit. We can already see, we've got 18 people who've signed up. H2O has signed up. Sampu Kanuku has signed up.
Sampu Kanuku.
Sampu Kunku?
I think it's Sampu Konku.
Sampu Kanku.
Just judging from how Venny used to say it when we cast games of
the Russian Lord has signed up. We'll call him that. Wicked Cossack has signed up. Tibia has signed up. Jerome has signed up. King of Osmane. Lots of good players have signed up. So it'll be an interesting community poll to see who gets selected out of those parties. Of course, there is still some time to sign up if you want to sign up. If you want to put your name in the running, you have until 21 GMT on Wednesday to sign up. At that point, sign-ups will close and a poll will go up to vote on the signed-up parties to see who is going to be playing in that best of 7 Battle Royale #1 for $100.
I was just thinking, maybe I'll sign up. And I was like, oh wait, I can't do that. I have to cast it. And if I do sign up, I probably will get picked and put in such a way.
We should both sign up. And then see if we
it would be interjection versus Zuta for $100.
Yeah, that would be quite hilarious.
Yeah.
But that third is up. If you're keen to play, check it out. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. I think that's it. That's gonna be I think all we have for today.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and do leave a like if you enjoyed the video.